Just before I get into this video, I just realized it's Jerry and uploaded the same sort of video than me a day earlier. And what he said is kind of different to me. He hasn't focused on if you're a bad player and what you should do. He talks about landing edge of map, and I'm just going to give a different perspective to him on really not getting contested at all. So yeah, watch the video. Yo, what's up guys? LK7 back here with another video, and today I'm just going to be running through some important tips to and how to succeed in getting points in arena, how to, as a bad player, as a controller player coming up against PC players, how to effectively do well rather than suffering bus fare, not getting points, losing points, all that, etc. If you're even in Champions Division, how to compete against them properly if you really want to and you want to get higher points and just do well generally, and you have ambitions that way, then here's some advice. Now, I'm no great player myself, but from watching like the Pro Fortnite scene for over a year, I have some idea of how to do this, and I'm gonna tell you how now. So always throughout Fortnite history, it's been known to land edge a map if you want to avoid the sweaty players, avoid the good players, but in reality they all land there now too. They do the same thing. You'll end up fighting them one way or the other, and in Season 10 I don't think it's a viable option to land on the edge of the map, because it's probably the worst season for rotation since Season 4. So anywhere like around this area, you know, it's just not, you should try and land in that inner circle. And what I mean by that is Shifty, Tilted Town, Loot Lake, Depot, Retail Row, Salty Springs, Fatal. 7 landmarks that you won't suffer a rough rotation from. Now, all those locations, factories as well if I didn't say them, Loot Lake, all those locations will more or less have a team there. And I'm trying to advise bad players how to avoid fights and how to get points, and more than likely you get bodied if you go to any of those populated areas. So maybe what you have to do is look at, as a trio or as a solo, landing at unique spots, unique strategies that can actually earn you points without having to do the obvious. A big thing is, if you watch Tfue for example, he lands Meteor with Cloak and Tom, and their trio goes there. No one else really lands there. In regular games, you're going to get a team or two there. In the highest, sweatiest of the sweaty games, no one even lands with them. But I probably wouldn't recommend landing there, because just fanboys are going to land there and whatnot. So what I would suggest is looking at areas like here, places people wouldn't land, splitting them between your trio, coming together and just getting good enough loot to rotate to middle of zone, box up, and if you're playing for placement, if you want points, that's the best way to play, because you're running in the open. You have these cracked fucking like PC players running at you. Who's gonna win? They're gonna win, like, no doubt about it. And this is something I don't do myself. I land Lonely Lodge, but I don't, like, anytime I play, it's not really like a big serious thing. I'm only playing with people, and we don't really have the greatest communications or anything. We just kind of go with the flow. But if this is someone who really wants to do it, then this is what I advise. So rift locations on the map, there's only 3 now, I think. There's a rift here, a rift here, and a rift here. There's one beside Pleasant. Wouldn't suggest landing Pleasant myself. One beside Paradise. Again, edge of map, you're going to get in fights. But there's one here, and this is the interesting one. So there's one located here, and then you have all these areas around it that you can practically land. You have this, you have this, you have this. And I think that is your probably the best place to land, if I'm being completely honest, because who in their right mind is going to land here in Greasy Grove? In your pro game, you might get one team every few games, but you're probably not going to get anywhere landing there, or get anyone landing there. There's a rift there. Let's say zone pulls here. You have a bit to run. Just get your loot, go to the rift, fly all the way over here. There's surely going to be some areas not looted around here. If you have a storm scout, fair enough, just go middle of the circle and camp there. If you don't have a storm scout, go to an area with a few houses, get some more loot, and you're fine. It would take away the looting you didn't do at the start of the game, and now at least you're in center zone, not rotating, getting tagged, probably going to die to better players. And that's what I recommend. Center of circle, finding areas where you can guide yourself in every way possible. Make sure you get the zone. Make sure you avoid good players. Make sure you get in center and ready for endgame. And yeah, that's what I advise.